Hello everyone, welcome back for our final lesson for our summer chapel series called Campout. Natasha, what's the matter? I don't want to be done camping. Well, we don't need to be done camping per se, but we're covering the last 2 commandments today. So there's no more of the 10 commandments to cover.
Oh, okay, so we can still camp?
Yeah, we can still camp.
Okay.
So, Natasha, I already said we've been covering the 10 commandments. Do you remember the story behind the 10 commandments?
Yeah. So, you see, these Israelites had been enslaved for hundreds of years.
Yes.
And they were free. And so God met with Moses on Mount Sinai.
You're right so far. I'm impressed.
Thanks. And God gave Moses the 10 commandments, which were broad rules for all the Israelites to follow.
Yeah, they were rules for all the Israelites to follow. Now, do you remember what the first 4 commandments were about?
What do you mean?
Well, the first 4 commandments were about our relationship with God.
Oh, yeah. And then the last 6 are about our relationship with others.
That's right. Very good.
Thank you.
Do you remember why we still today have to follow them, even though we're not Israelites thousands of years ago?
Yeah, because Jesus said so.
That's right. Jesus told us to. And our verse for this series, you want to repeat after me again?
Of course.
Okay. Our verse for this series is John 14:15.
John 14:15.
If you love me,
if you love me,
keep my commandments.
Keep my commandments.
Very good.
Thank you.
So Jesus told us to keep his commandments because remember, Jesus is fully man and fully God. They're his commandments. Jesus came to fulfill the law, but not to get rid of it. He expanded on it, as we've learned in some of the other lessons.
Yeah.
Now, before we get into today's 2 commandments, do you want to review the points that we've covered so far to help us better understand all the commandments?
Sure.
Do you remember them?
I'll try.
Okay, so go ahead.
I will put God first and worship him only.
Yes, very good.
I will respect God's name and keep his day of rest.
Yes.
I will respect my parents and love everyone.
Very good. Keep going.
Can you help me with the last one?
Sure, I'll help you with the last one. I will respect others with my actions.
I will respect others with my actions.
Very good. I'm very impressed.
Thanks. So it's today's.
Well, how about we read the verses and then we'll cover what today's is.
Okay.
So, our last 2 commandments are found in Exodus chapter 20, verses 16 and 17.
Exodus chapter 20, verses 16 and 17.
You didn't need to repeat that.
Sorry, I was on a roll.
Okay, so let's read it together. You shall not give false testimony against your neighbor. You shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife or his manservant or maidservant, his ox or donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor.
It sounds like more than one commandment there.
Well, the first one, you're technically right in 2. There's 2 commandments.
I meant more than 2.
Well, the first commandment says you shall not give false testimony against your neighbor.
What is false testimony?
Well, that's basically saying that you shouldn't lie.
Oh.
And in particular, it's saying against somebody, like lie about somebody. But in general, some versions will just outright say that we shouldn't lie.
Well, yeah.
Well, I'm glad you know not to lie.
Of course, it's so bad. It gets you in more trouble in the long run.
It does. It does get you in more trouble in the long run to lie instead of telling the truth. I'm glad you know that.
Thanks.
The second one is mostly saying that you should not covet.
What is covet?
Well, covet means to want something that somebody else wants.
Another that to want something somebody else has? Or wants?
Yeah, I think I meant that somebody else has. Thank you for catching that. No, you can admire something that somebody else has, or you could even say like, oh, I would like the same thing. Like if another dog had a nice ball that you really liked.
Yeah.
It's okay to say like, oh, I like your ball. I would really like the same toy as well. That's okay. To covet is more of like when it causes you to be jealous, like, oh, I'm so mad that that dog has that ball and I don't.
Oh no.
Which almost leads into last lesson where we talked about not stealing, because sometimes coveting ends up leading to doing bad things like stealing.
Oh no, I don't want to do that.
Yep. Basically, it's about your attitude and your heart.
I need to have a good attitude.
Yeah. It's okay to want something that somebody else might have, as long as it's not their exact thing.
Oh.
So I may like something somebody else has, but as long as I'm not having this deep desire of what they have specifically, that's okay.
That seems hard.
It can be hard. All of these 10 commandments can be hard sometimes. Before we go, we're going to play a game to better understand that last commandment.
Ooh, I like games.
Okay, this game is Would You Rather.
How do I play?
Well, normally with Would You Rather, you do it with a group of people and somebody, the leader, which will be me in this case, says two things, like would you rather this or that? And you have to decide which thing you would rather, and typically you go to one side of the room or the other.
Oh, how are we going to do that? There's no like sides of the room or outside.
Well, in this case, I'm going to list two things and you're going to just tell me. And the people watching, they get to decide as well.
Okay.
So, Natasha, would you rather camp in a tent or an air-conditioned cabin?
Well, I'm covered in fur, so I think the air-conditioned cabin.
And I am not. So personally, if it's just going to be me, I would probably prefer a tent.
Okay, so we have different opinions.
Yep. Number 2. Would you rather have to hunt for your own food or bring food already prepared when you go camping?
I'm a dog, so I'm going to say hunt for my own food.
Yeah, and honestly, right now, since I have 2 little children, I would rather bring food.
That's understandable.
Number 3. Would you rather sleep in a sleeping bag or on an air mattress?
Well, you see, I have claws, so I think I'd trap the air mattress. So I'll go for the soft sleeping bag.
And I think I would prefer the air mattress.
Okay.
Number 4. Would you rather eat beans out of a can or have steak grilled over the fire?
Steak, of course.
I love pinto beans, so I think I would rather have beans over the fire.
We keep having different opinions.
Yeah, we do. We keep having different opinions. Would you rather go fishing or relax on a boat?
Well, I don't want to be wet, so I think I would rather relax on the boat.
You know what? I think I'm with you on this. I think I'd rather just relax on a boat right now.
Wow, for once you got something the same.
Yeah, and you know what? That's okay. Like we said, we don't want to covet. Sometimes somebody else has something that you might want. Like, say, I had that steak you really wanted.
Yeah.
And you didn't. You had the can of beans.
I wouldn't be very happy about that. I don't really like beans.
Yeah, you wouldn't be very happy. But would you complain about it to me?
I know the answer should be no, but I might.
You're right. The answer should be no. You shouldn't complain about it and whine. Go, oh, why did you have to get a steak? And
I have beans.
No, you shouldn't covet. You shouldn't steal it. You shouldn't whine about it. That is where we're sinning.
Oh no.
So, do you think you're going to remember that from now on?
Well, as long as you don't have steak, I think I'll be fine.
Okay. So, before we go, do you want to review the verse one last time before everybody leaves and then we're done with this chapel series?
Sure.
Do you think you can say it yourself?
Yeah, I'm gonna try.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you. John 14:15. If you love me, keep my commandments.
Very good. I'm going to say it after you.
Don't you know it?
I do, but I'm going to say it anyway so they can hear it one last time.
Okay.
John 14:15. If you love me, keep my commandments. I hope you guys have enjoyed this chapel series, and I hope that you will go through Exodus chapter 20, verses 1 through 17, and read the commandments yourself. And, continue to read the Bible in other places, because the 10 commandments aren't our only commandments. And if we love Jesus, if we love God, if we want to be like him, we have to have the desire to follow him and be like God, be like Jesus. Jesus completely followed these commandments and the other ones that God gave. But these are just the big, broad ones that encompass everything.
Yeah, because remember, Jesus said the most important commandment was to love the Lord your God with all your heart. And the second most important commandment was to love others as yourself.
Natasha, I'm very impressed with you today.
Thanks.
I was not expecting you to remember that.
What are you saying?
Nothing. Well, have a wonderful rest of your summer, guys. Bye.